Hey everyone, so I've got a little bit of something different this time. Testing out a little bit of my writing, see how well you guys like. So, I'm gonna go a little bit into it, test how this sounds, see if you guys like it. If not, feel free to tell me and, well, I'll deal with it later and we'll stop this little writing session, I guess what we'll call it. To start, let's roll into it. As you walk into the town, see the orange sky hang overhead as the sun seems to seep lower and lower. The day, you can tell, is starting to fade away, and soon night will then take over. You walk through the dust lands of the desert, heading into the nearby town of Greywood. As you move into Greywood, you see people moving throughout in town, stirring up dust and dirt that flies around as though it was nothing more than the wind. But as you continue, people seem to start moving closer and closer towards their homes, trying to hide from the incoming and impeding cold that would seep through into every pore, every body part that was exposed. People hide for the seclusion, defying the warmth and heat that they were once trying to escape from. The irony is not lost on you. As yet you were boiling, but now, knowing as night will fall, that boiling will be what you wish you had. But moving into the town, you find people littering the streets. Those who are too poor to try and find scrap to sell to any who would buy are simply stuck out on the street, wrapping themselves with the little clothing they can to halt the impeding, creeping cold. You see many, many people who are tired, shuffling on at the end of their day. You remember days when you were a child, thinking back to when you didn't have to worry about where your next meal would come from, if someone would try and kill you, if there would be nothing for you to do, or if something would track you down for the end of your days. But those idle fancies come and go as the cruel, harsh reality starts to flow back into your vision. You recognize that you have to go to find somewhere to sit, to warm yourself. So you head to one of the nearby, watering holes, as they would call it. A nice place to get a drink, to warm yourself by the fire, to maybe get a room. You walk forward, pressing your hand upon the splintered door, pushing it forward as though there was no resistance, feeling every little piece of the shattered 2x4 that made up whatever this was. Surely it was meant to be a door, but you know it better as merely parts of a wall that were replaced. You head inside, seeing many different people littered throughout the place, some drinking and enjoying merriment with others, while you see the rest of the few with downtrodden looks. You can see the dark circles under their eyes. Whether you know of the tiredness, the stress, or pure panic of what to do with tomorrow, you know not. But sheerly, you move on, taking a seat over by the bar, noticing the cracks and wood chips here and there along the edges of the stools. Some you think could barely hold the weight of a child before snapping. You see one that actually seems to be able to hold yourself. As you sit down on it, feeling the wood creak before before you unfold, knowing that everything in this world is purely recycled, used for a different purpose, used for what it needs to, much like you, doing whatever is need done, moving on from day to day, town to town, knowing that sometimes there is no easy way in life. But as you sit down, the bartender approaches. Her thin, scrawny form seeming to hide the actual brute behind her, the strength that you see that she carries with her as she steps forward, asking simply what it is you would like. As you continue to talk, you see what she has upon the layers of shelves behind her. You see scotch, whiskey, vodka, even a couple of wine. But you know most of this is much too fancy, much too much cost to pay. So instead, you go with a nice, smooth whiskey. She slides out a glass, chipped and worn here and there, pours in a warm liquid from the day's heat, and then takes from the bottom of the counter 2 small ice cubes, placing them deep into the amber liquid as they seem to melt rather quickly in the heated liquid. As you see them melt away into that nice, cool, refreshing whiskey, you wait for a second before picking it up and pressing it to your lips, taking in the nice aroma and taste, allowing it to flow under your tongue and to steady yourself, feeling every last part of it as it starts to cool your body, not in a chilled sense, but more in a steady sense, letting your nerves relax as you feel the stress of the day begin to wear down on one single sip. You continue to nurse it as you enjoy the moment that you can get, the time in which that you can actually relax and not worry about when your next meal will come and whom might take from you. This allows you to reminisce once more, remembering some of the times before when you were but a young one and you were just learning to actually shoot a gun. Your father would take you outside, explaining that all in this world would wish to take from you, and you must be willing to fight for what is yours. For if you do not fight, then who will? Everybody knows that in this world, there is naught but you who can defend what is yours. How you go about that is your choice, and that is what makes you who you are. You remember these lovely memories as it continues on, sipping away the whiskey, as you are able to relax deeper into the stool that you are sitting in, letting your guard down for a little bit, as much as you can in an open environment. As then yet a small, stringy framed man ends up bumping into you, making you spill a little bit of your whiskey. The rage unfurls in you as you grip the glass tightly around your hand, feeling every muscle, getting ready for a fight that may come. Whenever you turn around, though, you see a young man, barely over the age that you would think would be of drinking, as he looks back at you and sincerely apologizes. not wanting to start anything, simply explaining that he had no idea what he was doing, and that this is his first time being drunk. You laugh it off and wave him away. He thanks you as he heads back to his seat with his friends. You see their faces, smiles across the board, a couple missing teeth here and there, but so is the way whenever you live in a world that was torn in two. You think about it a long time ago. It happened before you were born. A world that existed on the brink of a war. Your father would tell you stories about how your mother and him had known each other before, and that the war had scattered everyone. Every bit of fighting caused only more death, more poverty, more loss of life. No one wanted it, but no one wanted to give up their way of life. So is war even now in this wasteland of a world. Someone wants something, and they will do whatever they need to get it. The melancholy mood sort of drifts in along with the cold breeze blowing through the door, if you could call it that. As you remember the day your parents died, on that fateful day, you were away from home, simply going out and fetching water from the well, like most would. Before long, you heard gunfire, much too much of it that you would think would come from even your military and militia. You hid, and as you did, shortly after people came through, you managed to find a nice hiding spot underneath the foundation of one of the higher houses. From one of the houses. You find that as you hide, you hear the screams of many. As gunfire, you had to hold your hand over your mouth to hide yourself, to be free, knowing that should a peep come out of you, whoever these people were, they would surely drag you out, and you would join the ending piles of bodies. Your friends and family being drug out and murdered in the street. The town being sacked and left as is. They did not start fires for fear of drawing even more ire from any of those who would count themselves vigilantes. Soon, though, within the day's time, you crawled out from under the house to find so many of your town's members that you knew, that you grew up with, stripped bare and left out in the dead pile. Flies and other insects begin to gather around and buzz. Your memory flashes back, never able to forget the faces of the tormented people. Never able to forget. Never able to forgive. For this is the reason why you have left home in the first place. You knew of the world, but you knew you could not stay. There was nothing for you here now. You buried your parents out by their house, knowing that was what was theirs and what was to be yours. But no one could help you or them now. You gathered up your resources, and you left. So is the life of a wanderer, one who believes to bring justice and to fight for it. That is who you are now. It is who you need to be. There are those in this world who would do much more evil things. But you stand alone to protect those who need it. Okay, thank you guys for bringing to the first episode of whatever I'm going to call this. I think I'm going to call this The Wanderer. I haven't really had a title ready, and I won't lie, everything I just kind of I read off was straight out of my head. I didn't really write anything down because I didn't think in advance. This is more of a spur of the moment type thing. I wanted to see how well this would work, and so I have tested it out. I want to thank everybody for coming out to listen to it, to see how it is. Any feedback you can give on whether you would like to see this continue into a full-fledged story, or if you would like to see another genre brought up, go ahead and tell me down in the comments below, and I will get back to you guys whenever you can. And I want to say I'm sorry for disappearing. A lot of things have happened, but now I'm back. Alright, well, thank you guys. Have a good day.